Hello, and welcome to another horrific review. I'm joined once again by Dale as we conclude our journey along the filmography path of Sir Peter Jackson with The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies. Released in 2014, this film tells of Bilbo and company who are forced to engage in a war against an array of combatants to keep the Lonely Mountain from falling into the hands of a rising darkness. The movie was made on a budget of 300 million and brought in 962 million at the box office. These are diminishing returns. Every movie just the margin between the budget cost and what it brings in just that bit less.
Yeah, hello.
Mine,
Thanks for having me again.
always a
That's a
pleasure.
huge. Yeah,
Always a
thank
pleasure,
you.
Dale. And
That was that's a huge that's a huge amount of money, isn't it? That's nearly $1 billion. That's insane.
yeah, but it's the first one made over $1 billion. The second one made slightly more than this, and then this one
Yep,
962. So the more, like I said, and the cost
it's gone
of each
down.
movies went up. So the
Yep.
margin's actually less. If you think about, I don't know, you run the business and a transact all of a sudden something you made $2,000 on, you're only making like $800. You'd be like, what? When you think of the escalating costs and everybody involved, it's not really great. And this is the start of this whole nonsense where budgets of movies start going out of control and
Oh,
everything's like 200, 300 million. And now we're seeing the industry's burnt itself out and everything's a flop. They're not making the
yeah,
money back at all.
yeah. It's just such a huge amount of money, though, to spend on entertainment when there's so many people out there who need housing and you know it's just ridiculous. I just find it really ridiculous, the amount of money that people spend on entertainment. It's my god.
Yeah, but at the same time,
I
when you
mean,
think of it's the jobs you don't see, everyone just sees the actors and the director,
yeah.
but you don't see like the catering department, the woodworkers that put up the sets, the costumers, the
Oh,
marketers. In fact, most of these budgets you need to add about a third again for marketing costs because they never include that
yes,
in. So
yes.
that's why I'm saying that it's really does get reduced when you. There's a lot of hidden costs that they try not to let you see because they want it to look like in the books that it's a success.
Yeah,
And they've been caught out, especially recently. Just every spin they're trying to do, people research now. People are wise and they're seeing the utter folly. And even look at the whole thing with Disney at the moment. Like even their own
yeah,
shareholders are like, "What's going on here?" And they're that stuck and arrogant that they're even fighting against their own shareholders, and that's
yeah.
ridiculous. And it's just happening
That's
across the
it.
board. Disney's just the most visible
Yeah,
example, but
right.
it's happening all over.
Mm. Yeah, it is. It's ridiculous. I kind of like what Keanu. This is totally off tangent, but I love what Keanu Reeves does. How he with his money that he earns from his movies, he pays the catering, the special effects people out of his own pocket. Out of the money he's made from his movies. I think things like that are really inspirational.
Well,
Yeah,
he's a unique individual.
he certainly
Not
is.
too many like him, and he just does it because that's the sort of person he is. There's a
Yes.
lot of people try to do that sort of stuff, and it looks really contrived.
Yep.
And
Yep. Yeah.
I don't know.
Totally.
I am completely burnt out with Hollywood. The Hollywood machine just needs to break and go. And this needs a fragment now. We need smaller companies.
Yeah, something's got to give, because it's just it's totally out of control. It's totally out of control. They've lost the boat. They've just it's sailed to sea and nobody's on it.
Yeah. And we're seeing this across the board in entertainment. We see it with the streaming services, but it's just the whole thing is a mess. And I think it's a good allegory. This movie, this trilogy, it's a good
Mm,
allegory for that just nonsense. Because the problem is not the creativity, it's not the
no,
ideas, it's the stupidity of the cinemas and the corporate side of things, and just these people have no imagination. And I'm sure you know yourself when you see job advert, oh, we're looking for innovative, think outside the box. And 9 times out of 10, they don't want that. They want you to think inside the box. So it's all this double speak and spin the put out of what they actually are. And it's just led to this utter nonsense.
Yeah, it's clickbait, it's rubbish.
Yeah.
It's yeah, we have to ride with it though. There's really nothing we can do except for support our independent filmmakers as much as we can.
Creators, just anyone that's trying to do it on their own, just support them, because
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
you've got the most powerful weapon out there, and that's your wallet or purse. You know what I mean? It's you decide where you spend your money. Now you can just
Right.
blandly go along and just feed into a corporation that really does not care about you or has no interest in even making a product anymore.
Yeah. They're
Because they're
destroying people's lives too, right?
if
It's
you dare
just
say you don't like a particular movie and they're gunning for you. And
right.
if you have any sort of clout or visibility and you don't go along with the line, they will go after you. It's horrendous.
It's very sad. Yeah. Ugh, it's a scary place to be, I bet, you know. Ugh.
I don't know.
Pull
I
the
just
Hollywood sign down. It's bullshit now. Pull it down.
Yeah, I say what I say. I don't care. They can come after me if they want. I stand by my principles. I
Yeah.
don't agree
Yeah.
with what they're doing. I've explained why, and I go when I go through movies. I go movie by movie. Example. I tell people why I like something. Tell them why I don't.
Yeah.
I just don't like. There's no reason for the dirty side of this. There really isn't. It doesn't do the industry any good. It doesn't do people any good. It's just
No.
ego at the end of the day. It's just small people with no self worth, and the only way I can do it is by crushing others. And
Yeah. Yeah.
they're not even making good products now. You know what I mean? It's
No, they're rehashing old ones. They're going off on so many different. Oh, I don't know. They've destroyed the horror genre completely. It's an absolute write off.
I am struggling to find movies.
Yeah.
New movies,
Yeah.
I like to do a mixture of old and new. I don't want to be one of these people that just
Yes.
stays stuck in the past. I want to move
Yeah.
and get new material. But if you look at any recent reviews I've done, like I think it's been made within the last 5 years. It's utter guff.
It is. It is. Oh God.
It would
And
depress
you.
you. It really would depress you
Yep.
if you were relying on like I know, and there's a problem as well. There's some people put their entire personality into their fandom
Yep.
of something, and when
Yep.
you put all your eggs in one basket, and that's what you, at that if that's the sum total of your parts as an individual, being a fan of something that somebody else creates,
Yep.
then you're just setting yourself up for failure. Especially now, you're setting yourself up to be destroyed.
Yep. Absolutely. I know, right? This is terrible.
Like imagine, like I feel sorry for Disney fans. There's people that genuinely worship that company,
I know, right?
and they're getting fed absolute slop, but they feel like they have some strange loyalty, and
Oh,
then they'll
exactly.
invest their money, and they'll still go to the parks, and they'll still do because they can't imagine life without it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, no, right? Oh
honestly,
my God.
maybe I'm just old, and I've remember a time before.
Is
Like
that
Amazon,
what
for
it
example,
is?
we're talking about.
Yeah.
I remember a time before Amazon, so I can live without it. Yeah, it's convenient, but
Yes.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I do not owe them any allegiance. I do not owe allegiance to a corporation.
No, not at all. I know exactly what you mean. It's we don't want to let go of it, right? We don't want to let go of the past because they fixed something that wasn't broken and then they broke it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I mean, we were of the age of, okay, showing our ages now, but analog to digital destroyed it. It completely destroyed it. Took all the DVD shops away. Then everyone's sending me all these videos to watch on Horror Central, and it's like streaming through this thing and this thing and that thing, and I can't get access to it because I live in New Zealand and I don't have a VPN, so I can't change my location. So it's like, well, there's so many movies I'm missing out on because I refuse to pay 6 different streaming
no, I'm
channels.
the same.
Yeah,
In fact,
yeah,
when
right.
when I was on with Cameron there on Sunday, I was talking about all the ones I cancelled because I was just tired of it. In fact, before we started saying Netflix, I lasted a week and a half. I signed up again to review a movie with someone,
Yeah,
and I lasted a week and a half. I'm like, no. I'm not
Yep.
wasting another penny on this. This is crap. Just looking at the
Yep.
drudge, I'm like, unsubscribe, cancel.
Yep.
It's the same with like the Shutter. It's a pure
Yes.
horror platform, but there's
Yep.
nothing in my region.
No.
And you see
Really?
because you see the ads come out. Shutter has their own YouTube page, and that's where they put their trailers.
Yes.
And you'll see a
That's
trailer
right.
for something, and it won't be available
In
the
my
UK.
country.
And
Yep.
you're like,
Yep. That's right.
what am I wasting money? And the stuff they've got is absolutely terrible. And I'd sort of just go to a secondhand store and buy like reconditioned DVDs or Blu-rays.
Exactly.
That's where I'm
right.
at now.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, you sign up for these streaming things with the intent that movie, it says that movie is on there. You sign up, that damn movie is not on there. It's like when we did that vampire thingy one, that guy, Let Me In.
Let me
right
in,
one
yes, with
Yeah.
Jane.
Yep.
Let the right one in.
They,
Let me in.
Yep, that's right. And they said it was on Prime New Zealand, so I signed up, blah blah blah, and it wasn't even on there. It was like, that's how they get us. They tell us it's on there, and then it's not. So
Yeah, but that's once again, that's just pure lies, and you're meant to put up with that. Like, when do we get to the point that we just put up with bad service and just not getting the
exactly.
product that they're advertised? Like, that used to be Trade Descriptions Act. If you advertise something,
Oh yeah, that's false advertising, right? What
Mhm.
do you do about it? Can't do nothing. Except not subscribe to their streaming platform.
Yeah,
Boycott.
but
Boycott.
that's the best weapon you have. Just no thanks, and
Yeah.
don't get involved in their nonsense. And they'll
Yeah. Well,
call you
that's
all the names of the day. They'll call you this, that, and the other, and
yeah.
you're some sort of conspiracy. It's like, no. Do you remember the day it used to be the customer's right? The consumer dictated what you
That's
want.
right.
You went to
Yeah.
the market, not you dictated what the market is.
Yes, and then Karen's came along and ruined it all for us. So you can't complain anymore. Otherwise, you're called a Karen or a Kevin. So
Call me whatever you want. I just embrace it now.
but
If I
maybe
enjoy something, I'll sing it to the praises. You know what I mean? But
yep,
if it's a load of crap,
yep,
not interested.
yeah. Well, look what's going on in the background. I mean, with this movie, the merger took place. During it, it's like wow.
Yeah. So it was New Line Cinema had the rights to the Lord of the Rings, and this is once again that's no, it wasn't even Christopher Tolkien. It's his dipshit son. It's the grandson. And if you ever see a picture of him, he looks like a chav, a flipping gutter rat. He's an idiot. It's
I'll
the
have to have a
grandson
look.
that's doing all this with the Tolkien estate. So New Line Cinema had the rights to Lord of the Rings, but MGM had the rights to The Hobbit.
What a
And
mess.
then when Jackson was making The Lord of the Rings, there was a whole series of lawsuits which never really came out. We didn't hear about it. This all happened afterwards about residuals and back end payments.
I had no idea.
Yeah, that was all. That all came out. So after the Lord of the Rings, there's like the Tolkien estate wanted this. New Line weren't paying it, and they were suing Jackson himself. Well, probably because of Wingnut Studios, Wingnut Films. So they're trying to basically sue everyone. We want more money because the thing made so much. It was such a spectacular thing. Then all of a sudden, people get greedy, and then they want to stick their arm in more. And you'd never know who's. You like to think people act in good faith. I'd like to believe that Peter Jackson's a good faith person.
Oh
I like
yeah,
to believe
absolutely.
that he's the sort of person that makes films because he likes to make films. Yeah, and the business aspect is the business aspect. New Line Cinema have a bit of a checkered past. They were involved with Nightmare on Elm Street, and they did some dodgy stuff in other properties. The Tolkien estate, like I said, it's the grandson. I think Christopher Tolkien had sort of, he was at that age that he wasn't really
Passed
as
down the
involved in
mantle.
the business, but the
Yeah.
Tolkien estate's been, run by the grandkids in this group, and just absolute trash. If you see the crap that they've tried to put on, and they've no talent of their own. They're on the backs of someone else, greater than them, and they've
Yep.
never done anything with their own lives.
Yep.
And you know that old
Yep.
saying of, you've got the founder that builds the thing, the child tries to maintain it, and it's the grandchild that screws it up.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
you look at lineages, businesses, and everything else. It's so,
Yep.
once it gets past the second generation, that's it.
Doomed to fail.
They're coasting. They've never earned their wealth. At least the
No.
child, the first generation has the job of maintaining the legacy.
Yeah.
But it's the grandkids, it's the next generation
They
down
destroy it. That's right. Because they're greedy and they've been living off grandpa's money and estate for the last how many years,
Well, their entire lives, they've known nothing else.
Stupid, eh?
But it's a cycle. It is a cycle. It's what happens.
Yeah,
And it's the rise and fall of empires as well. It's not just military empires.
Yeah.
It's, somebody builds the empire, then it's maintained, and then it falls into degeneracy, then it collapses, then the new empire rises.
Yep.
This is played out 100 times.
Oh,
and I'll play it 100 times again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally.
It's just sad to see with a property that you absolutely adore, and it's difficult to watch it in real time happening.
Yeah. Sad. Very sad. Ugh.
So this whole debacle started 2009. So this was basically off the back of the end of the Lord of the Rings, and they were planning for the next one. But it was Del Toro. Guillermo del Toro was signed up as a director for The Hobbit, and we're going to have Jackson as a producer. I think it was more of a nudge and a wink, but it was good. You know what I mean? Del Toro's the sort of person that has a clear vision, excellent filmmaker.
Yep, absolutely. Got a good rep. He's amazing. Yep.
So, he was still pretty new at that point, because I think it was only really Pan's Labyrinth that he was known for at that time.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, absolutely.
But that, if you ever watched that, God, that'll blow you away.
And
not just the labyrinth scene, but the whole setting of the Spanish Civil War, and like that period of Spanish history at like 2 decades was horrendous.
Yeah.
But he managed to capture that.
He did, didn't he? Great movie. It made me cry.
Yeah. So he would come into The Hobbit, and The Hobbit's a different story from The Lord of the Rings. And you've read the book more recently than I have. It's been years since I've read it, but it's a different tone. It's a simpler story.
Yeah, it is.
But he was tasked with creating 2 movies.
Yes.
To make it, part 1 and part 2. And he was stretched even because there's not enough material. It's what is it? Is it a 200-page book?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
is it even 200 pages? Like I said,
it's around about 200 pages.
Yeah, it's a 200-page book. So what?
Yeah. It's so small, it's ridiculous for how much movie, how many movies they put into it. But yeah.
So even Del Toro was stretched.
He actually would have been amazing for this, but then again, I don't know if he would have done it justice. It probably would have been way worse than what it is. Who knows?
It's a hard one that, it's one of those how long's a piece of string.
Yeah, right.
Del Toro has a particular scene, but what he's good at, he can tell children's stories.
Yes.
Where I don't think Jackson can.
No,
Del Toro's
not.
Del Toro's done things like Pinocchio and all, and that, and
yes, he has.
Another one I review. He's done children-centric stories without the gore and so forth. So he can do that. That's something he can.
Yeah, he's got a broader range of skills, really, because then you see Blade 2, and I mean, wow, he can go and do Pan's Labyrinth, go on and do the vampire murdering, Blade.
Yeah, but then he
It's
goes
different.
from what is it, Pan's Labyrinth, and then when this all kicked off, he went and did Pacific Rim. Like there's a
Yes.
completely different. And then if what was that one? Something water.
Oh, not Waterworld.
No, the Shape of Water.
Oh,
Wasn't it
okay. Yep. Oh, yes, yes,
the
yes,
Shape of
yes.
Water? You know what I mean?
Yes.
He can. He's more. I think he's actually more versatile than
He
Jackson.
is. Yeah.
Jackson's got a particular theme,
Yeah.
and we'll see that. Like we've been in this journey from the beginning now, and you know,
Yep.
what I mean, you know what a Peter Jackson film looks like,
Yep. Absolutely.
where Del Toro isn't so much locked.
No, he's not. No. It's
Um,
he doesn't have a specific he doesn't have any signature moves or any significant things he does. Each movie's kind of like it's different, and then
mhm.
when you find out it was him that did it, it's like, oh wow, he did that. Wow, okay. Considering so the versatility of him is quite amazing. Yeah,
Yeah, so
definitely.
we couldn't really write him off. You can't say, "Oh,
No,
if Del Toro did The Hobbit, it would look like this." But
no, because
even
we don't know.
we don't
Yeah,
know. We'll never know. Um,
yeah,
but the fact that he had to make two movies out of a 200-page book aimed towards a younger audience than the Lord of the Rings, because the Lord of the Rings is obviously the next step up. That was the main project.
yeah,
The Hobbit was, the prelude. So he was stuffed, in that respect. He's already had his hands tied behind his back. Now, what he did too is he took some material from the appendices of the Return of the King. So at the end of Return of the King, there's a load of
yeah,
appendices
yeah.
at the back,
Yep, that's
and
right.
goes in. It's basically it's a whole history, and it sort of delves into a bit because in the book, as you know, Gandalf disappears for a while, and we get no explanation, and then he
Yes.
reappears later. There's a wee bit in the appendices about that, but it was never fully let out.
Mm,
So
interesting.
that's what Del Toro worked off initially to create his script for two movies.
Wow.
And that was that was a big ask. That was already going to be uh struggling. Thing about Del Toro, I think he would have kept the 90-minute movies.
Yeah,
That's the
right.
difference between him and Jackson. Is Jackson,
Yes.
uh Jackson can't do a 90-minute movie.
No,
Really
well,
of
we've seen the results of some of those, so
mhm.
yeah, no, absolutely. I mean,
um
he's the longevity, he goes for 3 hours, 3 hour movie. That's Peter Jackson for you.
yeah, and that's his style, so that's fair enough.
Yeah.
So MGM were in trouble financially at the time, and they were the
Mm,
ones, they held the rights. They were set to produce the movie.
yeah.
Um, New Line was in a merger with Warner Brothers at the same
Yes.
time.
Yes, I remember that.
So that was going on in the background.
Mm, yes. That's a lot. That's a lot going on.
Yeah, so that kind of puts projects, just normally it takes a while for a project to happen if there's any thought put into it.
Yeah.
But when there's companies merging and they don't know what to put in the shelf or put forward, and the company still needs to put something out, because it still needs to run, even though the merger's happening. But all this is going on in the background. Like the two main companies have anything to do with it.
Oh,
And then there was delay after delay. And I think Del Toro had spent 9 months to a year already on these scripts. And he
ooh,
was getting no sign of a sign off or the green light.
that's what happened. Wow. So just jumped out. He'd see you later.
Yeah, but he got to the point where he's like, I cannot wait anymore. I've put my career on hold here. If
Yeah.
this movie isn't happening, I need to go and work on something else.
Yep. Fair enough too. I mean, You know, why should people have to stick around and not know what they're doing? Or, you know, these are organized filmmakers. You know, they've got a plan. They can't just say, all right, I'll give you a year and a half of my life for nothing, and then, you know, that's I mean, look at all the stuff he could have been doing in those 9 months of reading appendix.
Mhm.
I mean,
Well, there's
know.
Chris saying The Hobbit is exactly 300 pages, but your point's well taken. One long movie should have been enough, maybe two, but certainly not three. Yeah, there wasn't enough material in the book.
Nah,
It's
not
not
enough.
that type of story.
It's not.
No, just put in the real text. I had a job interview today because I'm applying for jobs. The job I was offered in February, I am still waiting to go through the process to get a start date.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we're now in the April. So I'm
Yeah,
at the
go
point
away.
now, like personally, my own finances, I'm like, I cannot wait any longer for this job. I have to now start looking, you know, in earnest for something else. Unless everyone, like, we get another couple of thousand subscribers, folks, you know, and help me out with this, that I don't have to waste my time. But, you know, think of it the same way. You have to earn money. You can't just magic stuff out of thin air.
Yeah.
So you need to work. So yes, I'm in a similar position that Del Toro was, if that makes sense. Oh, it's coming. We're just have to wait for this and that. Right? Okay, I can't wait anymore. I need to actually make a living. So
yeah.
Now if it happens, but at the same time, once something else comes up, I'm taking it because I can't wait.
2 months is a very long time. 3 months to wait for a job to get back to you. That's just shocking.
Ridiculous, you know. But imagine waiting a year and a half. And you haven't earned a penny at this point because you know what I mean, it's all concepts and idea, but you're still working. You know what I mean, you're still meeting with people, you're still drawing up scripts. You're a writer, you understand yourself, you're blotting away on the keyboard, you're spending a working day creating something, and then if it comes to nothing, like, you can't live off that.
No, not at all. I mean, there's submissions I've sent out I'm still waiting to get back. So my story is on hold until they get back to me. So they've had one of my stories for 3 months now, and it's like, well,
you can't submit it while it's waiting there. You can't submit anywhere else because it's part of the contract.
Can't. Yeah,
but there's a piece of work
sitting there waiting, right? And it's a really good one too. And it's like, you buggers. All right, I'll give you till the end of April, and then that's it. Stuff I'm sending it off.
You need to. You have more than enough material. You're a fantastic writer, and you've loads of material. You should be putting out your own. At this point, you've more than enough there. It's yes, you can still do submissions, but at this point, you need to put out your own collection so that we can all buy it and support it.
Yes,
I've said this offline as well. You know, you're well to the point that a Del Gibson piece, the world needs that just out there. You've got your name in submissions.
Yeah.
You've been nominated for prizes.
I know. I know.
You're more than ready to have your own anthology out there. So and then anything else you put out, it's just a side thing, you know. But
that's right. Yeah, I've got a lot of projects coming up, and I'm really excited about them. So, submissions are going to be put on hold for a while I concentrate on other things.
Absolutely, you know.
Yeah, and I'm going to share your videos more too then as well, because I haven't been doing that, and I'm really sorry, because I've got a really good platform to share all your videos. I'm going to start sharing them as much as I can, because it's ridiculous. You do all these wonderful reviews, and heaps of people like them, but, you know, just subscribe, guys. It just doesn't.
It's just the nature of the beast.
It's free. Yeah, it is. It's the nature of the beast. It is.
As you're finding out yourself, now you've got your own videos coming out, like trying to get traction is, but you can't look at that. You can't.
No, I'm not.
You have to do it for the love of doing it, because you can't look at the algorithms, and you can't compare yourself to other people, and you can't get caught into that because it will destroy you.
Yeah, mine's not a I need subscribers one. It's definitely not what I'm looking for, but you put so much work into your reviews, I mean they're incredible, Colin.
Oh, thanks, Del. I appreciate it.
More subscribers. So I'll try.
I'm growing like every day. It's just snail's pace. Like
Yeah.
every day or 2 days, the more counter goes up. It's unreal.
Yay.
And this is across not just YouTube, but across I'm
Yep.
across multiple platforms. And every day
You
there's
are.
somebody new, there's a new comment, or somebody likes it. And you're like, well, people are seeing it. So
Yeah.
it's just that I don't like that term viral because that's just a temporary thing.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it is.
it's just how to get eyes on folks. But
Yeah.
it's all part of the thing.
Yeah,
But you got to do it
is.
because you got to do it because you enjoy it, because you can't sit and get in that
Yep.
game.
Yeah, you got to find your bliss and you got to go with it. And if you love it that much and you can make money out of it, it's even better.
It's even just paying for itself, because there's a cost as well, not just time, but monetary cost. That this doesn't happen for free.
No, of course not.
Chris asked, was Del Toro concerned about trying to follow Peter Jackson, who absolutely crushed it with Tolkien's other masterpiece?
Could be.
I don't know with Del Toro. Del Toro, I think, has that, or maybe just saying later, but he has that confidence about himself. Like, he's a seasoned film director.
Yes.
And he's highly regarded.
Hell yeah.
I think it was just, it's honestly, when I went and delved into this because I knew there was a story. And I went and I read up and I looked and just went through all the different, like Hollywood Reporter, Variety. I went through the web, I went and I looked and cross-referenced all this stuff to kind of get the story. And it's the most I've actually delved into studio dealings, because I normally don't care.
No.
But something definitely happened with this trilogy that's different from everything else. Like, we have seen Jackson's career, we've seen his movie making, we've seen his style, and we've seen his attention to detail, more importantly, and his ability to juggle multiple storylines and keep everything tight.
Yes, absolutely.
And this trilogy was anything but. It was the opposite.
Absolutely. The real shame.
So I had to look into it. I had to look at what was going on. And when you think of two major mergers, companies, and the fact that different companies owned the properties, a completely different director, and the fact he was pushed to make 2 movies out of a book that does not warrant 2 movies. You make one really good movie, and that's a Hobbit. So
that's right.
May 2010, Del Toro just announced he was leaving the project due to delays. He couldn't wait any longer, and it's understandable.
No.
Like I said, my own personal circumstances, I can't wait any longer. I'm having to move on.
Yep.
I've waited long enough. Yeah, it was a good job, good pay, good benefits, but I can't live in fresh air, so I have to move on.
Yeah. Oh God.
That's just reality of life. Anyone else out there that's been in a position waiting for something and it's not coming to fruition, and you've got bills to pay and you've got a life to lead, and move on with yourself, and your career stagnating, if you're just waiting on something, it's not going to happen. You know what it's like. So under no circumstances do you fault Del Toro for walking away.
No. Nope, not at all.
100%.
He made the right move. Otherwise his career could have been boo.
Yeah, and that's, you can't do it. You've got that Jackson, that was 2010, May 2010. Jackson was then hired in March 2011, so there's nearly a year later.
Yeah, wow.
However, these were already slated to be released. So the first movie slated for December 2012, and then each year after. So like Lord of the Rings. But
1, 2, 3.
Jackson had a year and a half to plan this out, and it was something he'd always been working on. And he filmed all 3 together. He had a plan and he had better material to work with. When you think of, like I said, we've been through Lord of the Rings, we've been through the whole journey and all the stuff in the background. This he's then brought on March 2011, first released December 2012. So there's, just over a year. later with somebody else's script. Then, to throw a mixer in the works, he's told he had to make 3 movies.
Out of a 200-page book.
Or
Wow.
300 pages. Chris has kindly corrected us there. So it's already a bloated mess with another director's vision. And
yeah, right.
this is where I bring up the versatility. Del Toro can move and shake, and he can move into different genres. Jackson can't.
Nope.
Jackson has a particular style, a particular rhythm, and he cannot deviate from that. So this is where Peter Jackson is brilliant at what he does.
Yep.
But he can't come out of that mold. And I think this is where we can kind of see the conclusion of where he is now as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
And this is life as a director in Hollywood.
Yeah.
You gotta just throw stuff together. You gotta be last minute because these studios move at a snail's pace and then they want it immediately. They'll play their boardroom games and then expect it just to straight out. You know, like the fast food chain. Always use the what the kids meal thing, right? Because it's the same burger, it's the same fries, it's the same drink, but the box is the same shape. It just gets a new paint. And that's the way these corporate people think.
Yes, right. Cookie cutters. Yes.
That's it.
Exactly.
You know, right. That's all there. Just paint it a different color, put it out. It's a new thing. And people lap it up. But this is not the property to do that with.
No, not at all. Shocking.
So there he had the remit to make 3 movies, year and a half, and he's trying to work someone else's script. And that's it. You know.
That's terrible. I didn't know that.
And you can see the chaos, not so much with An Unexpected Journey. Like, that was the closest to the book. And the closest to the story. That first one was the best out of the 3. And actually, if that just got cut, you know, a lot of the guff and just bring in the conclusion, you would have the Hobbit movie. If that got edited down to 1 movie, oh my God, you know, the building blocks is there with The Unexpected Journey. We saw the complete mess that The Desolation of Smaug, the second one, was. That movie was
that
awful.
Was the worst out of all of them. Yeah.
Painful to watch.
Yeah. It was. It dragged and dragged and dragged on with just filler after filler after filler. It was ridiculous. But this one, I think, I'd have to say is probably my favorite one out of the 3 of them. Believe it or not. I think it's because there was a lot of action, which I really found quite cool. Some of the action scenes, you know, they were exciting, they were ghastly, they were full on, but there were just too many of them.
Yeah, it was a popcorn flicks that turned up to 11. Another point was as well, Jackson actually halted production for a year. So there's a delay between The Desolation of Smaug and the Battle of the Five Armies because he actually went, I can't do this anymore. And he actually halted production.
Wow.
And sent everybody, everybody, it's a wrap. We'll come back in a year's time because I need to figure this out. He actually halted production, which has never really been done to that extreme.
I've never heard of anyone doing that before.
No, he just halted. Honestly, after the Desolation of Smaug, he just halted production and said, I can't go on until I get a year. I need to decompress. I need to figure this out and actually get a working script.
Jeez. Wow. That's
and the studio even agreed.
That's phenomenal.
I think after the second one, The Desolation of Smaug, I think the feedback
was not good.
Was not good, and they were aware that they could have a bomb in their hands.
Yeah.
If they didn't give them the time, that the film would have been the third one would have been even worse. So you can kind of see it pulling back and trying to get some sort of semblance. You know, it was almost like a new story getting told.
It was. That's exactly what I thought. It was completely different than the other 2. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to even remember. I mean, oh, I don't know. It's just the battles were. I really enjoyed them, but there were just too many. It's hard to describe.
Well, when you've
You
got
know,
an
it's like
ensemble cast of about 20 characters to try and
yeah,
squeeze in.
yeah, yeah, and they're all off on different places, and yeah, I'm not too sure how to explain it. It's there were mini stories within mini stories within mini stories kind of thing. Um, a lot of fillers, a lot of um, like some of the battle scenes and all that took too long. Some of them weren't long enough. It's like he'd lost control, even though you say he had a year's break. I don't know what that achieved because it was not well put together, if you know what I mean, to Peter Jackson's standards is what I'm trying to say. It's
Mm-hmm.
like he had to lower his standards to get this movie finished and then get the hell out of America and come back home. It was like, nah, I'm done. I want to get this one rushed through because it did feel like a bit of a rush. Uh, the battle scenes, although they were really good, didn't feel like Peter Jackson's work. You know how he can contain a
Mm-hmm.
lot of characters at one time, and the settings were brilliant. You know, they were wonderful settings, but there was just something missing. And I think nothing tied together. It was and it had nothing to do with the book.
Oh no, it's well, basically, we'll
What
start off. We'll
happened?
have Smog, which this whole thing was built around,
Yes.
and he's really only in it for about 10 minutes, if that. Like the big
Yes.
finale should have been Smog getting defeated,
Yes.
and really, it just was like the first 10 minutes of the movie. Right, let's get this over and done with, and then it's like a new movie starts. It's almost
Yes.
like a
Oh,
sequel to The Hobbit.
it is. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it felt like. I mean, he's the main antagonist character in this whole story. One of the main ones, obviously, Azog is another one. But this whole movie set on this one thing that, this one creature. We see him for what? We see his eyeball in the first one. We see what happens to him in the second one. And then the third one, which was just a snap, it was just a quick view of him. And then this one, it was just like we could have done more with him. He could have been in there a hell of a lot
They
longer.
spent more time on Alfred and the Master
Exactly,
than
right. And
Smog.
other things, yes, and other aspects as well, like the dwarves and all that sort of stuff. There was more of those little things in there than Smog himself.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have liked to have seen more of him, but I'm wondering if perhaps budget came into that, because to have created Smog the way he was, wouldn't that have taken up quite a lot of money? Quite a costly
Well, that's why this is
venture.
300 million. If you
Yeah.
remember back to Lord of the Rings, each one was made on a $99 million budget.
Oh, I know. Amazing, eh?
99 million. Like he budget because he did all three. The way that he was so efficient, 99 million basically across the board, the three movies.
Yep.
This is just, first one was 200 odd million, 250 million, 300 million. You know what I mean? The cost have just skyrocketed.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if Smog took up quite a lot of that cost.
Yeah, and they use the same technology as did for Gollum because Andy
Yeah.
Serkis actually started his own company
Yeah, and so he
for
should. He's
motion.
bloody good at
No, but
it.
he did.
Yep.
Off the back of Gollum, he started his own motion capture company
Yep.
and became
Excellent.
specialized in that. And Benedict Cumberbatch actually
Yes.
used motion. It wasn't just CGI; it was motion capture. It was the same technology as Gollum.
Yes.
That
Amazing.
so you had that. You had Andy Serkis, his company. So
Yep.
everything's tied together. So it's not even as if like today it's a third party company that has no investment. You still have people invested,
Yep. Absolutely.
but the costs,
Mm.
and also the stopping production for a year, sending everybody away and then bringing them all back, that's going to cost more.
Hell
So
yeah.
there's unnecessary, you know what I mean? Just
those are costs that have to be paid as well to keep the actors on board, coming back again. I mean, you don't want to change of actor
I think
halfway through
they
production.
did the same thing with Lord of the Rings, that they signed on for a 3-movie deal.
Yeah.
And got paid the same for each.
For each, yeah.
Because if you remember back to Lord, that's what he did with the actors. He went, right, doesn't matter whether, because this could be really successful, it could also flop. So you're contracted for 3 movies, you get paid the same for 3, so there's no renegotiations or messing about. I think he did the same with the Hobbit trilogy, which is actually a smart thing.
Yeah.
So that nobody could start playing silly buggers.
Yeah. I want more because that movie was, I was in them longer.
Look at this stupid Marvel crap.
I had more words. Yeah, I know.
Look at that, look what happened there. I think that's why I spent time telling the story, and looking it up, because it translates on the screen that it was a complete mess.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
The Bard storyline was just another add-in, convoluted. Like, why do you need all these extra characters when you've got 13 bloody dwarves and a hobbit and a wizard to juggle?
I know.
That's what I don't understand. You've got 13 dwarves, some with different stories. You've got a wizard, you've got a hobbit. There's more than enough. Like, juggling those characters themselves is more than enough for 3 movies.
Yeah,
yet
I know.
We'll have all these extraneous characters. Like, I think I was really annoyed with the Master and Alfred because they were side characters and they got more screen time than what they deserved as side characters.
They certainly did. Bard is another example of a redundant character. Why the heck did we? Obviously, he's in there just because he killed, he's going to be the one that's going to, because there's so much foreshadowing in this trilogy, it's ridiculous. You might as well, you don't even need to watch the movie, just listen to the foreshadowing and you'll know what's going to happen. So obviously we need a Bard in there because he's going to be the one to take out frickin' Smorg, and that was indicated from the beginning, when Bard first came into this film. And then they wanted a family love thing, the son comes and helps, and it was just like, that wasn't even in the Hobbit. What are you doing?
How did Smog die in the Hobbit? I can't remember. It's been years. I need to get the book again.
Yeah, to see how much of a mess. Sorry, but everybody made of it. I'm not just going to blame it on.
I need to get the book again and relook at it, because I still had my copy from school. It's gone now, and I'm annoyed. Yeah. That really annoyed me, actually, but I'm not going to that. That's a story for another time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Then they spent.
Oh, the Master and Alfred. Oh my God.
Alfred. How much screen time did Alfred have in this? They tried to make him Wormtongue 2.0.
Yes. Exactly. That's exactly what they did. And he was a dick. They made his character to be such a stupid idiot. Is that Peter Jackson trying to put in a bit of laughter to lift the mood? I think
his head was put away.
Yeah,
I genuinely think. The more I look at this, we'll do a wee bit after we talk about the movie. We'll do a wee bit of a reflection, I think, because I think I know it's. I can kind of see what's happened, because I could see my personality going that way, just being done. You think you're aiming for something, like you think Hollywood's the epitome of being a filmmaker, and then you go into the reality, and you realize what the reality is, and you're just like, nah, I'm done. I can't do this.
Yeah.
This isn't for me.
No.
And financially, he didn't have, after Lord of the Rings, he didn't have to do anything.
He didn't.
He was set where it was set. Weta Studios, Wingnut Films is set.
Yep.
He's set personally.
Yeah.
He's achieved everything. After King Kong, I would say he's done everything he ever wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he got dragged into this.
Yeah.
And
Kicking and screaming.
I can visibly see him because I looked up some of his interviews and that, and he's really cagey about talking about this.
Yeah.
But you can see the
NDAs.
tiredness in him.
Yeah.
You can see the physical, like the actual, as the spring in his step he had.
Yes.
When he's talking about Lord of the Rings, when he's talking about King Kong.
Yes.
When you see the spring, like when he, we've seen him talking about heavenly creatures, you see that glint in his eye.
Yes.
You don't see it when you see his interviews in the Hobbit in the aftermath. He's spent.
God.
You can actually see the haggard look of just, I am done with this.
Well, he turned grey pretty fast after the Hobbit.
That would do it. I turned grey watching it.
Yeah. Dag. I'm going to have a comparison. I'll have to go and have a look at his interviews about the Hobbit because I want to see the change in him after working with Hollywood.
It's sad to watch. And you see him trying to put on a brave face.
Yeah.
And you can just see it. The eyes don't lie. You know what to say.
Yes, that's right.
You can have the fake smile and stuff, but you can see it in the eyes.
If it doesn't light up your eyes, it's just a fake.
You know when somebody's not invested.
Yep.
That's why I couldn't be a fake person, in this sort of thing, because it would just be so obvious. You just can't, and I don't think he's that type. You're your typical fake Hollywood person, and there's no sincerity about them.
God, yeah. They sit next to each other in interviews, and they tap each other on the back and they like each other, but not really.
No,
in the background, they can't stand each other,
That's so obvious. Yeah, Alfred's character really irritated me because there was no point in him.
I loved him being thrown off the boat, though. When he was kicked off by the master, when he kicked him off the boat when they were trying to escape.
That should have been it. That should have been the end of it. And then maybe I'm scuttling off into the wilderness, but that should have been it.
Yeah, or why wasn't he killed by by Zog? Smog. It's like, I don't know. He's a dick anyway.
Yeah, but it's just a pointless character. Even being it, he served no purpose. He had no arc. He had no.
Neither did the master.
No.
It was ridiculous. I don't know what Peter Jackson was thinking.
But
oh my gosh!
Right, once again, this is not Peter Jackson's script. This is Del Toro's script, and this is what he had to spin out into 3 movies from 2 movies.
No wonder he took a year off. He's like,
nah, that's what I'm saying. It's just,
yeah.
I don't think he changed anything. I think he just had to take a year off so he didn't throw himself off Lonely Mountain.
Yeah. Yep.
I genuinely think that's what it was. If he had stayed on, he'd have broke.
Yeah.
I think he genuinely, the year wasn't even to change anything. The year was just to
have a break,
recharge, because
yeah.
Then we've got Gandalf locked in a cage again. Have we not seen this before?
2 Towers, Lord of the Rings. Got stuck up in the tower. How the hell did you... I don't get that bit. Galadriel. Suddenly, all of a sudden, they've got telepathic abilities again.
Yeah.
Which they lost in the last video.
Hence, Radagast had to disappear. But...
Yeah, Radagast. What was that about then? Plot fail. I mean... Why dredge up the same stuff? Or was that Del Toro thinking, we'll put Gandalf in a cage because he was locked up in the 2 Towers? That'd be a cool remake, rehash, repeat, rinse and cycle.
I don't think we'll get the full story for another 10 years. Like 10 years' time, this will all come out.
Yeah, when the NDA runs out.
Yeah, when the NDA runs out, it'll all come out.
Yeah, honestly. But I couldn't believe that he could actually, that Galadriel, whatever the hell her name is, was talking to him and but he wasn't in the I just don't get it. I don't get it. It's yeah. Why? Anyway,
And
it
her,
pissed me off actually.
yeah, and then we have Saruman, and then we have Radagast with Elrond. We just get them all in together. Like, it shouldn't have been Sauron. It should have been Morgoth.
Right.
If they had made it Morgoth instead of Sauron, it would have made sense.
Yeah.
And then they could have left the continuity. But this whole battle scene at Dol Guldur ruins Lord of the Rings. Ruins it.
Yeah.
Ruins the whole story. Ruins the setup. It actually rewrites it at God, what's the word? Retcons Lord of the Rings.
Yes. Why? Why do that?
And we even destroyed the scene with Galadriel when she changes into her like demon form. That was a poignant, dramatic moment.
It was
in Lord of the Rings, and it just got cheapened. And you're like, what are you doing?
I was so peeved. That whole scene was just a rehash.
You never watched this, isn't that right?
Yeah,
this
no,
is your first time watching this.
This was my first time. And I was just like, okay, I really loved the battle scenes. I did. But there was, I mean, I might as well just have watched the Two Towers of Lord of the Rings again. It's just with different characters, but the same sort of moves, you know? It was pointless. There was no consistency. The bloody pacing was off once again. I don't know.
Not quite as bad as a Destination Smog. It was slightly tighter.
No. Yeah.
At least there was no barrels this time.
Oh, God, no.
At least we were spared barrels, so we can give it that.
Thank God. Thank God.
Oh man.
Yeah, no. That whole scene at that battle was cool, and until she turned dark, it was like, but we've seen this before.
But it wasn't meant to be in that context. It was a vision.
No,
it was an apocalyptic vision, and then he completely cheapens it with this.
Yeah, he did. Why?
And
too many characters. Too many characters in one movie.
Not to speak ill of the dead, but Christopher Lee's parting line, "I'll go and find him" or something. I'm just like, oh my God. Like, he must have felt dirty giving that line out, just, without stirring the... He must have went, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like,
why did I come back? Oh, well.
And then the movie stops, and it's like a new movie starts with Thorin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally.
I don't remember the Arkenstone having the same power as the One Ring.
It's the ring. No.
I don't remember that. I remember the Arkenstone being a beacon, and it was a signal that, of rulership. I can't, like I said, it's been years. I mean, over 10 years since I've read the book again.
Yeah.
And I need to...
I'm trying to remember too, because I'm confused because of the movie.
Well, we know the movie's nothing to do with the book.
No,
it's
the Arkenstone was not at all
it's not
what
that
it was
way.
portrayed in the movie. Nah.
We're basically seeing Thorin become Gollum.
Yeah.
But instead of the One Ring, it's the Arkenstone. Like,
yeah.
It was painful.
The Arkenstone. What do you call it?
Arkenstone.
The Arkenstone sickness. He got it very subtly, and then all of a sudden, and without even having the stone, he was going crazy.
But it was the dragon. It was supposed to be because of the dragon's horde. The serpent that corrupted the gold, but then everyone would have got it, not just Thorin.
Right. Right. Oh my God.
They didn't even get that right. They said it was a sickness of the gold because a dragon had slept on it for so long. But then it was only Thorin was affected. Everyone should have been affected then.
Everyone.
Makes no. They couldn't even get that. I mean,
not even a subtle hint that anyone else was feeling sick. Only Thorin. And I don't know if you noticed, but he's looking less and less like a dwarf in this one. He's actually looking like a man.
Yeah. They made him, like, the mistake they made with Thorin was they made him Aragorn 2.0. We said this, they just made him Aragorn again. Where, if you think of Gimli, Gimli was a dwarven king. You know, Gimli was a stout, robust, unapologetic dwarf. Look at the rest of them, unapologetic dwarves, except for Fili, and because they needed him to look human.
Yes.
Because
for the love triangle.
And this is this is what pisses me off about normies, right? Because this is obviously normies thinking that they're going to explain fantasy to fantasy fans. And it's not for us, it's for the general audience, the freaking couch surfing the mouth breathers.
Get on the bandwagon.
That don't actually, they're not actually fantasy fans, but they'll come for this. This was all that, we can't upset those sort of people. It's not us, because we want a dwarf to look like a dwarf, want an elf to look like an elf, and that's what makes it the clash of societies. Why would this happen?
Exactly.
And then you have, and that's where you build in characters. So why would Fili be once again
humanized?
Stupidity. But this is and they call us racist, and they call us esterophobes, and they'll blame us for that. And it's not us, it's them and their petty minds and their small-mindedness. That they'll project. They project their own feelings on the likes of us. And fuck up our shit.
Totally.
And sorry, troll who upset earlier on because we swore in one of our episodes. We got told off. Actually, Karen got told off for swearing. It's like, get the fuck. I don't be cross for the sake of it, but when language is appropriate for the emotions, and
we're allowed to be pissed off, far out.
It's the arrogance.
We're reviewing a movie.
Yeah, it's the arrogance of, right, we got to do this because obviously you couldn't possibly imagine, plebs.
Yep.
Piss off.
Yeah,
that's their arrogant attitude. Oh, we'll baby it up for you because you couldn't handle it if it was portrayed.
Oh yeah, totally. Oh my god. Go away. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they did it with those. They did it with those two characters. There's no need.
No. No. And then Turiel, whatever. She's what's her name? 0.20 as well.
Oh, Ewan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Oh. Why didn't they just bring the same characters back?
May as well just do you know what they should have done? You're going to see the Hobbit, but surprise, we'll just replay Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, exactly.
Or play the cartoon. Have you ever seen the cartoon?
No.
There's an animated there's an animated Lord of the Rings movie, which is only like half of the story, and then there's an animated Hobbit movie, which years old. I'm talking like 50s possibly, like really old.
Wow.
May as well have just done that. This would have worked better as an animated, they'd have just done an animated one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that whole thing with Thorin Oakenshield was just ridiculous.
Yeah. It was a bit over the bloody top. I mean, he turned pretty nasty pretty quick, trying to threaten Bilbo and the other dwarf, and he turned into quite a nasty character until he
got his redemption arc and saw the light, and then everything was all back, everything forgotten, back to normal again.
Yeah.
And the actual battle was not a battle. Like, at all, oh, right, we're going to fight with each other. Oh, right, orcs, everyone turned and everything forgotten. You're like...
Yeah. Pacing off again. Yeah, not making sense.
And I think he threw an extra few beheadings in this just to cheer himself up.
Oh, absolutely. He went overboard with the beheadings this time.
I think
I think,
he just needed to do that to cheer himself up.
yeah, I think so too. So I actually lost count of how many bloody beheadings there were. There were so many. He was like, "This is my last ever Hollywood film, so I'm going to behead everybody."
Yeah. Well, what's his face? The Dwarf King with the elk, and the like 7 beheadings in a row.
Yeah, no, that was brilliant.
I think he just went, you know what? I don't care anymore. Fuck it.
Yeah,
I'm doing that. I'm just going to do that because
because I can.
I don't care anymore. Nobody else cares about the storyline, so I'm just going to throw that in. Woohoo! I think that's the only
It
time
was
I
fun.
laughed in this movie.
Oh.
Because even when they tried the comedy scenes with Alfred, I just felt nothing. But that scene with the elk and the set, like the whole beheadings in a row, I just like
Yeah,
and just laugh because I'm like,
that, yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well done.
I was there.
Yeah. I think actually, my favorite part in the whole movie is the elves when they're in army formation and they do those quick maneuvers and they step back and another one steps forward. Wow, that was mind bending. I loved it. Really loved it. He did really well with that. He's so good with things like that.
Yeah, but that's him at his strength.
If he had kept to that amount of standard, this just would have been off the roof.
But if you ever done it, if you ever had a story where you're like, I'm padding this out for the sake of it, I've told my story. It's like trying to make a short story into a novel, and it's not a novel,
Oh, absolutely.
and you're like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
only
yeah.
padding out for the sake of it. No, it's not. So you
Yeah,
just keep it at the thing because you're like, I can't pad this out anymore because it'll just get ridiculous.
yeah. No, no,
You
no,
know what
no,
I mean?
no.
I think that's the stage
Yeah,
he was at.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hmm.
Uh, Flip, and then that fight with Azog or Azog, is it Azog? Azog, yeah.
Yep, Azog.
That went on forever.
It did.
Do you know what it reminded me
It
of?
did.
When Laurie Strode fights Michael Myers,
Yes.
and it goes on, and that last
Oh,
dopey Halloween movie.
yep.
Did you see that one?
Yes.
Halloween Ends,
Yes.
and they're like the Terminators just bashing each other through walls and stuff, and
It's just, yeah.
Michael Myers is like pulling, like squishing people's heads and folding them up into pockets, but not Laurie. No, she can stand up, and they're both bashing each other, and that's what that fight felt like with Thorin and his dog. It was just like, would it end already, please? Or have you seen Terrifier 2 yet?
No.
Right, the fight between Art and Sienna is the same. It just goes on and on and on, and you lose all. Like you're just like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
And I
It gets to
watched
a point
martial
where,
arts flicks. I grew up
yeah.
in Jackie Chan movies and Bruce Lee movies, and they go on
Yeah.
forever. You
Me
know what I
too.
mean?
Yeah, 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 exactly.
So I'm used to that, but this is just exhausting. You're like, oh come on, would somebody just end it already?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Obviously filling it in, and also, well, Zog being, the one of the main antagonist characters once again. I guess they just thought, well, they'll make they'll make the deaths as explosive as they possibly could, I suppose. But it went on for too long. Um, I was actually quite sad when Thorin died. I know, only because he redeemed himself, and it was quite sad for me. Just it actually was a little bit more emotive, this film, than I think the other ones. But yeah, no, I've lost my train of thought. Oh, Thorin, yeah, damn.
Yeah, but it was just like, it was more like, phew, finally it's over.
Yeah, like there was a point there where I thought that he actually got Azog, but then he didn't. It continued on.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
like,
The bit where he was floating under the ice just really.
yeah. Oh
At
my
that point, I
God.
was just like, oh, come on. When he winked his eye and jumped, like,
Yes.
anyone that's ever
I was,
swam, you don't do that.
that's right. So I thought it was over. We thought, yeah, everyone's going to walk away. Thorin's going to walk away. Everything's going to be fine. And then we see him come up out of the ice, and it's like, why did you even put him under the ice? then in the first place? Why couldn't you have done? I don't know. There's so much more. Looking retrospectively, what he could have done better. There's a lot of things he could have done better. Definitely.
I genuinely think he didn't care at that point. I think, like you said, he just wanted to get it over and done with.
Yeah. Yep. And it feels that way because it doesn't feel like this in any of his other movies. No. Sad. And Azog was a creepy looking creature too. Yeah. So
once again, not a character.
Yeah. Yeah. So
he was a nod-on.
Yeah.
Yes, in the book they were pursued by orcs, but there was no like Azog character. It was just
nope, he wasn't there. No, they just made someone up. Why?
Filler
to fill in time. Yeah,
we needed to make 3-hour movies. Like it had been 3 90-minute movies, I would have got it. But
yeah, it would have been epic. It would have been epic if it had been one movie for 3 hours. Perfect. It would have blown, the box office basically. But greedy people wanting their money
and stupid people as well, just idiots that don't understand what they're dealing with. And God, they could have done the Hobbit movie, and then they could have went and done the Silmarillion.
Right.
But thankfully, that's never going to happen now, and I hope Amazon never get their hands on that. That's an epic story. And it's really convoluted. It's the book's only outside, but it's filled with that much stuff. It's a bloody ride. And that's as I said, that's Morgoth, and you've got battalions of Balrogs on a battlefield, not just one.
Wow.
And Sauron's one of the lieutenants.
Wow.
And I can't remember who the other lieutenant is. But Sauron had a couple of equals. It's a whole the rise of Dunedain and Numenorian, and it's everything, but that's not going to happen now because bloody Hollywood's stuffed. I hope they're stuffed. I really hope that entity breaks.
Yep.
It's done. It's had its time. It's over.
Yeah, no, right.
And then we'll have Philly getting killed. That's right before Thorin. And I genuinely think he was killed just to tie up the love triangle.
Yeah. Definitely.
We don't want any complications.
Why pick him and not anybody else?
Yeah. So Philly gets put out of the way conveniently. Then Legolas gets sent off to the north to meet Aragorn conveniently. Teriel just nothing happens to her.
Just left there.
Was she still banished? Was she welcomed back? No.
Exactly.
Put her in a box.
Did she jump off the cliff? Because her man died?
I don't know. Her character arc just came to a full stop.
It absolutely did. There was Legolas didn't even say goodbye. Thanks for the journey. Thanks for helping me to save the dwarves and Bilbo and Gandalf, and thanks for that. See you later. He just walked.
Yeah, and her story just came to a full stop. Nothing after, no grief, nothing done. Just. No. But they spent more time on Alfred's. They give him more of a story arc.
They did, didn't
and they gave him an ending.
Oh well, they were on the edge of a cliff, so maybe it was a cliffhanger. Ah.
Right. I'll tell Chris, right, Steve's the one that does the bad jokes on his podcast. That's his domain. I get it once with him. That's plenty. Thank you very much.
Oh, look, I'm allowed one.
Oh, dear.
Oh, I know. Poor Peter Jackson. My heart goes out to him.
It's just, like, you can just feel it. Bloody hell. And then it actually goes back to being the Hobbit. Like the final scene, Bilbo going back to the Shire.
Wonderful.
Feels like the Hobbit again.
Yeah, it does. It does. It felt like we stepped right back into the book.
Like we've got this
for the first time.
Frankenstein's monster of a Lord of the Rings parody movie.
Absolutely. Oh my
And then we'll go
God.
back to the shower, and if finally, what do you call her? Sackville Baggins, stealing the spoons. Like that was
Yeah.
actually, I remember that. Like that always remember, the auction of his property, because that's just the
Yes.
way hobbits are. And I'm not there proof. They know exactly who he is. They're just being the way they are, and that
Yeah.
whole interplay was like right back to what the Hobbit was.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It was it's a nice, well-rounded ending. It leaves off. It ends where it began, and I think that was quite nice. I like it when a movie does that and it comes full circle back around again.
Which it did in the book. That's what I said. That's the play-by-play the scene out of the book.
Yeah, about time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It
About
starts
time.
off in the book. It goes up to where do we say the tree when they went up a tree, and
Yes,
then
yes.
it then departs completely from the book, and then it goes back to the shower. All this weird stuff happens in between. Then it goes back.
Yeah,
It's like, what the
yeah.
hell?
And he was away for 13 months. It felt like 1 month. It felt like 1 month. I mean, how long does it take? Does it take 13 months to get to the mountain? Really? I don't know. I don't know.
Well, it makes travel, etc.
Yeah.
It would have been a significant amount of time for all the traveling they did. When you look at the map, like if you open up the Hobbit, you'll see the map. It's laid out
Yeah,
of the
there is a
journey.
map. Yeah, but in
So
the
I made a
map, it
board
doesn't
game of
look
that
that
when I was
far
in
away.
school.
Eh?
I actually made a board game of that because it was one of our projects in school. So I
Really?
made it like just a, almost like not quite snakes and ladders, but you follow the trail and then you roll dice. And then
Yeah, I
I
see.
did wee cards that were like encounters of each of the
What
areas.
the,
So like when they met the
yeah.
trolls, the
Oh, God.
you did that. It was only made out of like paper and stuff, and drawn on, but
How
it
cool.
was fun to do.
Yeah,
So I remember
yeah.
that's what I mean. The Hobbit inspired me. It was a story. It was a simple story, but also there was this pertaining to something bigger.
Oh, absolutely.
It's why I'm so annoyed with these movies.
Yeah. You and probably a million other
Well, a lot
people.
of people were annoyed. It wasn't just, it's not me being super nerd or anything. It was just
No.
like, this
Yeah.
is not
Die-hard
anything.
Tolkien fans would have been absolutely livid. Just like I would have been if Twilight didn't stick to the gender as well. Yeah,
Yes, your
you know
vampire
what I mean?
sparkled.
Yeah.
um,
But it's like if you're doing an adaptation from a book, you sort of have a responsibility to make it as close to the book as possible. But it didn't happen in this trilogy, unfortunately.
yeah. If Jackson had any sense, he would have walked away when he looked at the script. He would have just walked away, and maybe
Yeah,
this would never have happened.
yeah,
It didn't need to happen. I
exactly.
don't feel like I'm missing anything by this not being adapted.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like it's needed in the universe either, in the universal world of freaking movies. It's something that, the trilogy could, the world wouldn't have been worse off without it in the universe.
Mm.
It was just done really badly, and we can quite easily see the demise of Sir Peter Jackson's filmography.
Well, this was his last movie he made. He
Yep,
got producer credits and one or two more, and he's done a couple of documentaries. But
yep, yep,
obviously, For They Shall Not Grow Old, that was his.
yes.
That was fantastically done. He took all the footage from World War One, for the centenary, and he colorized it and he made it into a documentary. And it was great.
He did. He did.
That was kind of his redeem. He redeemed himself, but he
Yes.
hasn't made a movie since.
No. And I wonder if he ever will. I don't think he
I doubt
will.
it. I think I honestly, if you go and look at the interviews, this is
Yeah.
the most research I've done outside of the. I was sharing, you know, all the weeks I was sharing videos. Check this one out, check this one out.
Oh, yeah.
I was like a dog with a bone. searching through all his
yeah.
back catalogue.
Oh, they
What
were
the hell
great
what
seeing.
happened?
Yeah, it was great seeing him talk about the films. He's so humble, isn't he? He's just such a humble man.
But you can see him
Yeah,
trying not to, he's trying to skirt round what happened.
he is.
And I don't know if I shared the one he did on Skype after he had just finished making The Hobbit. Did I share that one to you?
No, you didn't.
Oh god, I should have. He was so
Oh,
haggard
yes,
looking.
that.
That's the one that I saw that he was done. He's like,
Yeah,
done.
yeah,
And he couldn't say anything. You could see him being cagey and that, and you're just like, yeah. And it shows because he hasn't made a movie since. He's just like, nah,
no,
this broke him. I think I soured him
yeah.
with Hollywood, and I don't think he'll ever. He's not one for slinging mud. He's just not that sort of person.
No, he's not. That's what I mean by he's quite humble about the whole journey. You can tell he's hiding some animosity in there somewhere, and he's quite good at changing the subject when that sort of stuff comes up. Yeah.
Yeah, but there you go. Shame,
Wow,
but
that's the end of it. Sir Peter Jackson.
I would have liked him to have made one more movie that he wanted to do, even if it was like a low budget thing, just to
finish off on a high note.
because this would make you lose hope. But
another brain dead would have been bloody awesome.
Yeah, just loads of ahead and just get out of his system, go back to his roots, go stuff it.
Yep.
And make something daft.
I don't think he had the energy.
No, you could see it. Like it's. I'll need to find that interview again.
Yeah.
God, it was just he was a shell of the man he was, and it wasn't him just being tired because you saw him after Lord of the Rings, you see him after King Kong, he still had the energy about him.
Yep, he did.
This he didn't. He was completely different.
Yeah,
you could actually see him at the start of the project, like some of the interviews I shared, like at the start of the project, he was just venturing on this, trying to figure it out. He still had that sort of hope about him. I can do this.
Yep.
Then I shared the one to you where he called the end of production.
Yeah.
You could see he was like, "Oh God, and it was nothing because nothing changed in the script." He's trying to say he rewrote, he didn't. He was just trying to make it work. It wasn't his script.
Yeah, terrible.
And you can see that, and then you can see him that final interview because I've watched loads of interviews with him throughout all this. Went and searched specifically for the Hobbit related ones.
Yeah,
and you can just see it. And that one afterwards, he just done it was just a general filmmaking one, and he had finished this movie. I think it was about 4 weeks after it or something, and he's just like done.
Wow.
Didn't care. Just had enough.
Yeah.
Burnt out.
Yep. Burnt out. Totally. So that's Hollywood for you.
Yeah. I think
Not
people
really
are wiser
anything.
now. I think people are wiser now to the Hollywood machine. I think people think twice.
Yeah, some people are aware. Other people have no idea what's going on. They just watch movies and then they don't really do the things we do, like do deep dives and things like that. They just watch it purely for entertainment, and if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. But they don't know, the clogs and the engines that are going on behind the scene, sort of thing. And that's okay. It's all right to remain ignorant.
Yeah, but that's not everybody. Is like this is a calling, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
In itself,
yeah.
This is something you feel like you have to do. Like to me now, just like I spent because I never had much time. I just blandly consumed it. Didn't really think about stuff. It was just something that okay, I've finally got a Saturday night off, or I'm on leave. I'm not having to do anything. I'm not up a bloody mountain, or I'm not somewhere weird. That's how I spent 20 years of my life. Even when I was a kid, I was involved with the cadets. I was involved with Duke of Edinburgh's award. I was always, every weekend I was away somewhere. I didn't just hang about. So I didn't really pay attention. But now that I do, I couldn't think of myself doing anything else. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yep.
Just watching a movie blindly. I try and I can't. Once you've got that sort of, you got that sort of critical eye, you're studying the thing.
Yeah.
Once it's switched on, that's it.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It's something you can't really control once you've got the monster started, eh?
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah, yeah. It's great to watch movies like that as well,
So
you
you were
know.
doing it yourself off your own bat?
Yeah, yeah, that was yeah, well, I just did it. I just did it. I had to make up because for somebody who didn't give a very good review. I wonder who that was.
Hmm.
I had to make up for that. So because of you, I had to do 3 reviews.
Oh my god, that's. But you knew you'd get with me. You know I'm a gobshite.
Yeah, you were.
Did you think, like, come on, you've known me for quite a while now.
Yes, I
Was it going to
know.
go any other way?
I thought you might have appreciated the artisticness of it. But no, that movie's not for men, obviously. Oh, no.
Oh
But
dear.
no, that was fun. It was fun actually doing those reviews. I won't be doing anyone else's but his. I'll just stick to doing them with you because it's so much more fun.
That's
Talkie.
when
Yeah, it
when
is.
you're doing it, and sometimes it's good to watch a bad movie and just absolutely tear it apart.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite reviews is Killer Sofa with you.
Yeah,
That
no.
was an absolute blast.
That was awesome.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's where
And
you
I was
get the
fairly
enjoyment.
new too. I was fairly new to this. So, yeah. Yeah. That movie sucked shit. Sorry. It did.
What's Chris saying?
Mm.
I find watching things with a critical eye doesn't mean you can't enjoy movies anymore. If anything, you enjoy them more when the movie's done right. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely true.
It's a different switch in your brain, and you appreciate what you're watching.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
Like the easiest thing to do, like oh crap, not Hobbit, sit and just slag it off. But it's
Yep.
what you're doing is going through the whys. Why don't I like it? What didn't work? What what changed? And when you
Yep.
know a director, you
Yes.
can say bits. Like we did the Clive Barker series on Adam
Yes.
Cameron and I, and we were able to see that whole series. And there were some terrible movies in that, some terrible adaptations.
Wow.
But you can see the style of the director, you can see the style of the writer, and you can
Yep.
see where the kind of butted heads.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's good to get the sort of sense. And
Yeah.
who else have we done? Steve and I are doing the Amicus series, and Chris and I obviously doing Tremors. Looking at the
Yep.
absolute debacle of what
Yep.
we now call the sequel trilogy, 5, 6, and 7. They're horrendous.
God. That's unbelievable.
And you can see where the shift happened. There's a whole shift happened there with Universal cutting Stampede Entertainment out when they were going to make Tremors 5. So they cut out the original creators, went, nah, we want it all. And then you just saw what happened there. It's good to actually understand why things happen, because then you can say, right, this doesn't make sense. Oh, right, now it does. You can actually see the points where things
Yep.
change. And with
Yep.
this movie,
Yep.
you can see exactly, going into the backstory, it couldn't have happened any other way. There's no way a good movie was coming out of this.
No.
There's no way
No.
a good trilogy.
No. It was a big, bad mistake. Shouldn't have happened.
And the lock in, they set aside these budgets and put it so they have to make them anyway. And all would have happened is if Jackson hadn't done it, would have just grabbed somebody else and it would have probably been worse.
Yeah, it would have probably been worse. I mean, if he couldn't do it, nobody else could have done it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not really. Not to that
Michael
extent.
Bay. Got Michael Bay. Oh God. Could you picture Zack Snyder making depressed hobbits and depressed dwarves?
Yes. Emo hobbits.
Oh.
Emo dwarfs.
You could picture, you could picture,
that version could have done it. He would have done a fantastic job.
How could
dear.
he have pulled that off? Have you seen, what's that one with Johnny Depp plays a vampire?
Huh?
What's the one that Johnny Depp plays a vampire?
Does he play a vampire?
Yes. A Tim
Um,
Burton movie, and it's really gory. It would have been like that.
I can't think of it. I haven't watched a Johnny Depp movie in years.
Oh, this is years old.
Really?
This is, but it's after like the.
Yeah, I think Pirates of the Caribbean turned me off him, actually.
Oh, that's
Vampire. Oh, what was that?
no. God, it's I can see his makeup and all. Dark Shadows.
Oh, right. No, I haven't seen it.
Right, Dark Shadows. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Michelle Pfeiffer and Helena Bonham Carter. Eva Green's in it.
Wow.
Yeah, and then Prison Vampire Barnabas. He's yeah. It would have been like Dark Shadows.
Oh.
Maybe a bit of Sleepy Hollow if Tim
Sleepy
Burton.
Hollow?
It'd have been a bit of a cross between Dark Shadows and Sleepy Hollow if Tim Burton had done this.
Oh, he is amazing though.
Yeah.
Funny shit.
Yeah, we'll have to have that off because this would be depressing if we just focus on this trilogy. It was such a disappointment.
Yeah, major disappointment. Yeah. Lots of plot fails. Jeez.
Just convoluted storylines and not actually focusing on the main characters.
No. Side characters became so much more important than the main characters, which is really not right. It's not how you make a movie, dude.
And the main threat, the actual dragon.
What a shame.
Barely in it.
God, they could have had him in all three movies. All of them, just big. They could have done more. He could have been in it so much more. Damn.
C'est la vie. That's the way it is.
Yeah, c'est la vie.
But there you go. That's the end of unless Sir Peter comes out and makes another movie. That's kind of the end of his legacy. Apart from his documentaries, and obviously he got if he's got his companies, but at the end of the day, does he need to do anything else with his life? He's done more than enough.
No. He's a billionaire, multi-billionaire. He can just sit there and teach people how to direct films now. Yeah.
Is that what he does now? Does he have?
Yeah, he's got some sort of film school started up for filmmakers in New Zealand to try and get more filmmakers in New Zealand. So, but that's also very quite secretive. Like he's very private. He's a very private man. So it's really quite hard to knuckle down what he's doing because I think he's doing quite a lot of different projects. But
he's not the type he's not the type to languish, and just sit about. He has to be doing something. He's just that type of person, which fair play to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
absolutely.
Obviously, we wish him the best. Like, this was disappointing, but you can see the story behind it. I don't blame him. He did it. Considering what he was given to work with, considering the circumstances, fair play him for actually pulling something out. I also don't blame Del Toro. Del Toro made the right decision for himself to get the hell out of this. This was poison chalice.
Yeah,
and I think Jackson just felt obliged. He felt some sort of obligation because he was tied to the franchise. So,
yeah,
at least he didn't get involved with that other show. Yeah, and he offered to help out, and he was told basically to do one. And look how that turned out.
Yeah, wow. Yeah,
we're still waiting on season 2. They're still announcing it, and they're putting it back, and it's like they're only doing it because they're contractually locked in.
Fail.
And it's like they're doing everything they can to put off putting that out, and it's so funny because they just know it's apathy.
Yeah.
Do you know that 97% of people didn't actually finish any of those episodes? They tune in for the first one or two, and then they just dipped out, didn't actually finish them.
Oh my goodness!
So it could have been that. As much as we're panning this trilogy, it's not that. So there you go.
Yeah.
I just saw enough clips. I saw the intros. And I have no interest. I haven't watched the episode yet, and I'm not going to.
No, me neither.
I don't need to. I've seen clips, and that's enough.
Yep.
And I've seen the baiting and the calling people lists and false so they can come out, and the fact they had T-shirts printed, that got me. That they got Elijah Wood and a couple of other ones with these already pre-printed T-shirts, so they had them. That doesn't happen overnight.
Oh,
So
no.
there you go. That
No.
shows that there were the sort of level of horribleness that was involved in that. So at least he didn't get involved in that, and he can hold his head up high.
Yep.
But anyway, even though that is us finished with the Peter Jackson series, that is not the end of our journey. We will obviously be carrying on with a few options we'll look at, and
Yes.
definitely not just going to fade into the background. We'll be back talking about more movies and looking at the fair land of New Zealand and what you have produced.
And then we can move on to Australia.
Oh, we could do Wormwood Road of the Dead series. Have you seen that?
The what?
The Wormwood Road of the Dead series, the zombie movies.
No, I haven't.
Oh, right. Put a pin in that. We will hold it after. We've identified a few movies that we'll have a look at, but WYRM would. I think there's about 2 or 3 movies in the series. Absolutely bonkers.
Wow. I'm gonna have a look at that.
Yeah, okay, right. I've been looking for an excuse to get this on the show, so that's what we'll do. We'll do like an Australasia.
All right. Oh, that sounds brilliant. When did that come out?
Oh, years ago, like 2007 or something. Like,
wow.
I think 2007, 2009. It wasn't yesterday, but absolutely fantastic movies.
Oh, we'll do that then, huh? How's that sound?
Yep. Hey. Well, like I said, we'll decide, and then obviously we'll.
Yep.
But if you folks want to find out, just remember to keep up to date with the channel, do the typey clicky things. Until next time, keep it creepy, keep it horrific.